Hello, so good to meet you at this global motivational meeting. We are reading World Scriptures book to inspire and empower positive life for the day. This holy book are helping billions of people, families, communities, countries, and the whole world, and will help you to just read these quotes and practice daily. As we're reading this holy book from the beginning, please find all the chapters at our Message to Billion channel, and let's read further about qualities for happy and prosperous life. Hospitality. Hospitality to guests, especially to travelers seeking food and rest, is a traditional virtue from ancient times. Abraham was exemplary in his hospitality to strangers, three of whom turned out to be angels. Father Moon describes the custom in his parents' home, where hospitality to strangers was a rule firmly enforced by his father. The best families create such a loving atmosphere in their home that it attracts people and even animals from miles around. Even families of little means should give their best hospitality to guests regardless of the hardship it might cause them. This is illustrated by the three texts lauding exemplary hospitality in extremity. By Lot, who defended his guests against molestation by the people of Sodom, by a companion of Muhammad who gave his last morsel to a guest of the prophet, and by Hindu householder who preferred to die of thirst rather than withhold drink from a thirsty stranger. Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. See to it that whoever enters your house obtains something to eat. However little you may have, such food will be a source of death to you if you withhold it. Let him who believes in Allah and the last day be generous to his neighbor, and let him who believes in Allah and the last day be generous to his guest. The husband and wife of the house should not turn away any whom comes at eating time and ask for food. If food is not available, a place to rest, water for refreshing oneself, and a reed bed to lay oneself on, and pleasing words entertaining the guest. These are at least never fail in the house of the good. The two came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them and bowed himself with his face to the earth and say, "My lords, turn aside, I pray you, to your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may rise up early and go on your way." They say, "No, we will spend the night in the street." But he urged them strongly. So they turned aside to him and entered his house, and he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. But before they lay down, the men of the city of the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people to the last man, surrounded the house, and they called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may know them." Lot went out of the door to the man, shut the door after him, and said, "I beg you, my brothers, do not act so wickedly. Behold, I have two daughters who gave not no man. Let me bring them out to you, and do to them as you please. Only do nothing to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof. A man came to find the prophet, and the latter asked his wives for something to give him to eat. We have absolutely nothing, they replied, except water. Who wants to share his meal with this man? Asked the prophet. A man of the companion then asked, I. Then he led this man to his wife and said to her, treat generously the guest of the messenger of God. She replied, we have nothing except our children's supper. Oh, well, he replied, get your meal ready, light your lamp, and when your children want supper, put them to bed. So the woman prepared the meal, lit the lamp, put the children to bed, then getting up as if to trim the lamp, she extinguished it. The companion and his wife then made as if to eat, but in fact, they spent the night with the empty stomach. The next day, when the companion went to find the messenger of God, the latter said to him, this night God smiled. It was then that God revealed those words, and they preferred the others before themselves, although there be indigence among them. The fame of Randiva is sung in this and the other world. Rantideva, who thought himself hungry, was in the habit of giving away his wealth as it came, while trusting in God to provide his needs. Even in time of famine, Rantideva continued his generously through his family was reduced to poverty. For 48 days, he and his family were starving, a little liquid, and that enough for anyone who were ill. All that remained. As he was about to drink it, an outcast came begging for water. Rantideva was moved at the sight and said, I do not desire from God the great state attended by divine powers or even deliverance from rebellion. Establishing myself in the hearts of all beings, I take on myself their suffering so that they may be rid of their misery. So saying, the compassionate king gave that little liquid to the outcast, though he himself was dying of thirst. Father, let's read quotes from the second Messiah, Fact, the Sun and Moon. A household that is always prepared to welcome noble guests will receive blessing. Treat people who came to visit you as kings. Serve them as kings and attend them like kings. Make hospitality to friends and visitors your family custom. Care for them so well that they say, your house is better than mine. This meal is more delicious than the food at my house. Can I stay here one more night? When I make your house a place where every guest or friend wants to come and stay, even ignoring their own families, you have the kingdom of heaven in your family. The more people you invite into your home to eat and sleep there, whether they stay in a guest room or in the attic, the more blessing your family will be. The time will come when families will complete in the practice of hospitality. Compete in the practice of hospitality. Families would want to become famous for hosting guests from the neighborhood, the country, from around the nation, and from overseas. People do not practice hospitality because they are materially wealthy. They practice hospitality because they are wealthy in heart and love. There is happiness in hosting others, even though you may be eating hard bread. Your home should be a place where passing beggars want to sleep or even against your doorstep, lean against your doorstep to take shelter from the cold. Even the neighborhood dogs want to lie down there and birds want to take shelter. There should be bird dropping on your doorstep from the bird that nest in your eaves. When you make your home like that, you will flourish and God will be with you. Why? Because the place where God's love dwells attracts all living things. It is a place of a peaceful Sabbath rest of you all beings. My family had a tradition. Nobody passing by our house left with an empty stomach. Our home was widely known to every beggar in the district. They all visited and received our hospitality. When my mother served out grandparents their dinner, she also served the beggars. It was a heavy physical ordeal for my mother. Yet on one occasion when she neglected to feed a beggar, my father took his own meal and gave it to him. Thenceforth, my mother had to feed the beggars, or else my father will go hungry. I am grateful to my mother, who did not complain, though she labored to feed these strangers. I became a motive for a person like me. It became a motive for a person like me to lead a movement to feed the world. All the beggars that lived in my or near our district used to visit our house. Our house was like a meeting place for beggars. There was always a few of them sleeping in the guest room. There was an old mill in our village where beggars would congregate. I made friends with many of them. When our family made rice cakes, I always took pity on them and brought them some. When a beggar left our house in the morning, I thought, who will give them lunch? Since there was no one, I often fed them. Without asking my mother for anything, I took the food she had set aside for my lunch and shared it with the beggars. It was a good deed. Thinking about it now, I think I did well. So powerful quotes for today. If you have difficulties, please watch one more time this video or share this video as we end this billion Happy Life Subscribers Marathon. Contact me for consultation, cooperation, and become a member of this Family Parents Holy community globally. And stay happy, healthy. See you tomorrow with more powerful quotes. Yours, Coach Nikolai Sepal. Bye-bye.